What did you learn here about Matt Araiza, Dan?
Well, so we knew in December that the district attorney was not going to press any criminal charges involving this with against Matt Araiza or two other San Diego State teammates that were named in the civil lawsuit. But at that time, there were very few details released about why that was. And pursuing sexual assault cases is always very difficult. You have to prove the case criminally beyond a reasonable doubt. So it can always be a challenge. So you just don't really know. Obviously, it's a relief if you're the accused to not have to deal with a trial, but it doesn't necessarily. It's not really necessarily seen as a complete exoneration or anything like that. What was unsealed recently was an audio of a meeting that day held between the people from the district attorney's office, the girl who made the accusations, and one of her attorneys, and which is common. You would meet with somebody about this and explain why there's not going to be a charge. But because of the tape was out, released, you could hear over an hour and 40 minutes in really some at times very detailed ways the concerns that the district attorney's office had with the case, and it included a conclusion based on a witness that the deputy DA found apparently very credible, that Araiza wasn't even present at the party and left the party before at least one of the allegations, the gang rape allegation. There's other talk of, there's cell phone snippets, videos of the encounters. There's, discussion of the sexual assault testing after. Different witness testimonies are brought up. It's not a complete, thorough picture, but there's a lot of exculpatory evidence or witness statements that, certainly for Matt Araiza, you would want out there. And so it's a very interesting recording. It's a little unusual for it to be out, but I guess that's what they do in that jurisdiction. And so for Matt Araiza, it shows a lot of things that certainly he believes that, if NFL teams listen to it, we'll have a better picture of who he is and what might have happened and what this case is about. So you're looking, he's in a weird, unusual situation, or maybe not, but he's looking to not just avoid criminal case. He still has the civil case pending, and he could still lose that. There's all sorts of stuff could go on with that. But at this very moment, at least, a lot of the exculpatory evidence or evidence that would seem to be positive for his side of the argument was able to get out there in this fashion.
So based on what you heard and what you obtained, that it appears that when this gang rape took place, there is no video from any of that where Araiza appears, and there is a witness that they find credible from the district attorney's office that said Araiza wasn't even there when that happened that night, is what you're saying.
That is correct. So the allegations against Matt Araiza, and he acknowledges he had a consensual sex with this girl. She's at the time 17 years old, and the question is, was he aware? The DA point. We have to prove that he's not just that you're 17, not 18, which is the age of consent. But do they know you're that, or is there any should he reasonably know? So to take this out of that, let's say you're at a high school party, you would assume the people at the party would be, high school age. If you were at a nightclub, you would have some reasonable, this is not a defense because you could probably find things, but if you're at a nightclub in San Diego, you could have a reasonable understanding that maybe everyone's over 21, right? Because they're supposed to be carded to get in. Obviously, we know that's not perfect, but you can understand the thing. So you have to prove both of those things. But the gang rape allegation, and that's really the most graphic thing that came out in the civil lawsuit that led to the Bills cutting Matt Araiza, it included this scene of him throwing the girl down on a bed in a room with and a gang rape starts. So the DA citing, it's one witness, but and the timeline that's set up has states in there that certainly they concluded that they believe he was not present at the time. So that is a significant story development for Matt Araiza's camp. Again, you go to a civil lawsuit, which is still going, you no longer need beyond a reasonable doubt in proof. You only need a preponderance of the evidence. It's a much lower bar to clear. So it's not that he's completely cleared legally. He still has the civil suit going. But obviously, if you're Matt Araiza, you want a district attorney to make that conclusion, and that conclusion to be made public for fans to understand what happened, what he says happened, and and teams to understand what he said happened.
Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports here on the Rich Eisen Show. What are the young ladies' attorneys saying? What's their response to your report? I guess did you reach out to them for comment on what you heard, Dan?
Yeah, the district attorneys. It's a statement in this meeting isn't a thorough declaration. There's only one witness cited, although we don't truly know all of the reasoning behind the DA's decision, so maybe there's more. It's immaterial to a civil case. He still had consensual sex with her. There's going to be a whole battle over did he know, did he not know, did he ask her age, did he not? Civil cases are civil cases, and there's still a lot to go on this. It's not, so obviously they don't. It's not great that this came out. I don't know. I don't want to characterize what their thoughts are, but there's still questions, is what they're saying. But certainly, if you listen to the full audio,
yes,
or you read the whole thing, it's long. It's a very, they lay out a very, very numerously angled thing of why there are considerable doubts onto the story that was given to them. And I think that's a fair characterization of what was said in this meeting.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.